With owning $25 million plus of real estate, I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the current news trends that are out in the market right now. So first up is the mortgage reports. The title is Mortgage Rates Fall Again, June 2024 Rates Forecast. And the majority of this article talks about interest rates coming down in the future, and specifically after hitting record low territory in 2020 and 2021. Mortgage rates have climbed to a 23-year high in 2023. Many experts and industry authorities believe they will follow a downward trajectory into 2024. The thing here is, at the beginning of 2024, end of 2023, the Federal Reserve was talking about that they were going to have rate cuts going through 2024. Recently, they came out and said that they might not be doing that any longer because inflation is still a problem. So all the people that are out there talking about that interest rates are going to be coming down in the future, potentially risky thing to say, because they have zero control of interest rates in the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is going to do whatever they want to do, and interest rates are going to do whatever they want to do. Nobody controls those things. None of us control those things. Making statements like that and making investment decisions based on the assumption that interest rates will decrease at some point in the future, I think is an extremely risky thing to understand. So personally, I'm buying deals assuming that interest rates are not going to change for the next couple of years. They might go up a little bit, but I'm buying it based on interest rates not going down for the next few years. And if the deal still makes sense with today's interest rates, then I'll buy it. If it only makes sense if the interest rates come down 1, 2, 3 percentage points, then I'm not buying it because I don't know what's going to happen with the interest rates into the future. So be careful believing all these people talking about saying interest rates are definitely coming down in May 2024, and we have yet to see that. To mix it up a little bit, we're going to do some Reddit responses too. This one says, real estate produces more millionaires than any other industry, quote unquote. Is this true? As a newbie to financial/real estate, I'm just curious about the financial potential of real estate. Is it a better way to generating wealth than stocks, mutual funds, 401ks, etc.? Yes, there's a reason that real estate has created the most millionaires ever of all time. You can leverage your money into real estate. If you have $20,000, you can buy a $100,000 property. In stocks, if you have $20,000, you can buy $20,000 worth of stocks. Stocks go up and down all the time. In real estate, over time, if you zoom out on a chart, it goes up and to the right over a long period of time. So if you can leverage your money into real estate and own real estate long term, it's one of the greatest ways to create wealth and to become a millionaire through the ownership of real estate. So are there better ways? Yeah, technically. You could sell a company and make $100 million, a crypto trade and hit it big and become a millionaire, right? Are there better ways? Yes. But is real estate the tried and true method that's been around forever? Yes. Real estate has created more millionaires than anything else ever has. So now we have an article from Redfin. Redfin predicts 2024 will be the year home buyers can catch a break. And here's why. Prediction number 1, home prices will fall 1%. 1%? The value of a home goes from $100,000 to $99,000. That doesn't change anything. It saves you like $5 a month in a mortgage payment. 1% doesn't do anything. Prediction number 2, new listings will tick up. Maybe, maybe not. People that have 2 and 3% interest rates, there's a strong likelihood that they're not going to sell because now they're paying 7 and 8% interest rates. So I don't know if I agree with that one. Prediction number 3, home sales will increase and end the year up 5%. This might be true. We have a lot of new construction being finished right now. New construction is not necessarily starting, but the thing with new construction you gotta understand is like when it starts to when it finishes, it takes a long time. So it's finishing all the new construction, which can increase the percentage of home sales, but there's no new starts. And with the low interest rates that everybody has previously, I don't know if there's gonna be a mass trend of more people selling. Prediction number 4, mortgage rates will steadily decline, but remain above 6%. Again, people telling you that interest rates are declining without knowing, I don't know if I believe that. Prediction 5, change will come to the real estate industry. This is just talking about a bunch of legal jargon. Prediction number 6, renting will lose its stigma. I think this generation likes to rent and likes to be mobile, and they don't like responsibility, and they don't like saving money to invest into their future. So is renting going to become a bad stigma? I don't think so. I think it's becoming actually more of the norm than actually getting worse. I think it'll become something over the next 5, 10, 20 years is going to be maybe the only option if you're not a homeowner. If you don't invest in real estate soon, I don't know if you're gonna get a chance to own real estate. Here's another one from Reddit. How do y'all feel about landlords? I was recently called a slumlord in another sub, and I just wanna understand if I need to seriously reconsider my life choices. So what does a slumlord mean? A slumlord means that you own a piece of real estate that you don't do any renovations to it. You just let it run literally into the ground. The roof's leaking, you don't replace it. The furnace stops working, you don't replace it. There's plumbing and sewer things coming back up into the house, you don't fix it. That's the definition of a slumlord. There's very few people that are actually slumlords because it damages the value of their property. They're intentionally running the value of their own property into the ground. Are there slumlords out there? Yes, 100% they're out there. But people throwing around the slumlord word all the time is just hate. They just don't like having to pay somebody rent. Cool, go buy a house, go get educated, go work hard and save money. Like it's okay to not necessarily be in the position to be able to own a house, but to hate on somebody who owns it just because they're providing you a place to live. That never makes sense to me. Here's another one on Reddit. This is the first. Plumbing apparently can't handle toilet paper without needing costly repairs. If you read this notice is to inform all residents the plumbing system here at blank address is not designed to handle toilet paper or baby wipes being flushed down the toilet. You might be able to call them a slumlord. I've never heard toilet paper being a problem. Yes, you shouldn't flush baby wipes and female products and all these other things. That the sewer system is not meant for that. And actually in our leases, if you flush those items and it gets clogged because of it, you're paying the expense to fix the plumbing. But toilet paper? Come on now. This you might be able to argue as a slumlord. So here's another article from auction.com, 4 steps to becoming a real estate millionaire. Step number 1, get out of debt, get off the debt merry-go-round. I agree with this. Like, you shouldn't be going into unnecessary debt and buying a bunch of liabilities, credit card debt, swiping for TVs, buying new cars, buying all these things where you go into bad debt that doesn't pay for itself. It's a liability, not an asset. So I definitely agree with this. Step number 2, save 15 to 20% of every paycheck and pay yourself first. Should you save? 100%. You should save as much money as humanly possible. You should limit your expenses as much as humanly possible. If you have to, cut out going out, cut out traveling, maybe bunk up with somebody in a house so you can split the rent. Yes, you should save as much money as possible. Step number 3, save at least $5,000 to $10,000 and then stop renting or quote unquote living with your parents and buy your first house. So the way to be able to do this is through something called an FHA loan. What this means is you can buy a property for a 3.5% down payment. So you can buy a $200,000 house for 3.5%, which is $7,000 plus a few extra grand for closing costs. So, call it $10,000. And you might be saying, well, I live in an area where 200,000 houses don't exist. You can move. You don't have to stay in the area that you're in. Yes, I know there's a lot of markets that the median home price is 500 grand. I'm with you. But you can move out of there. Nobody says that you have to stay in the place that you live. You can move for the next 2, 4, 6 years to be able to buy enough assets to set yourself up for the future and then go back to wherever you want to go. But you did the move for a purpose, to invest, to build wealth for yourself and your family. Step number 4, repeat step 3. So again, this can work. You buy a house, you live in it for a year or two, then you go and you buy another house. So you rent this house, you live in it for a year or two, then you rent that house and you go and buy another house. You can start building assets through this investing style. It's not my preference because it takes a long time to buy one house. I like buying real estate using other people's money because then you don't have to use your own money. That's my strategy. But this can work, technically. Another one from Reddit, why buying cheap rental units will turn you into a slumlord. Advice for new investors. So what I think he means by this is if you are a new investor and typically you don't have much money, so you go and you buy the cheapest house that you can find. If you buy the cheapest house that you can find, it's probably in the worst area, in the worst condition, which I agree. You don't want to buy that house because the problem is maintenance. On paper, yes, I can buy it for $50,000 and I can rent it for $1,200 a month. But the problem is that in 2 years, it needs a new roof, which is $6,000. It needs a new furnace, which is $3,000. It needs a new air conditioning unit, which is $3,000. So those expenses just cost you 10 years of rental income to cover those expenses. So I agree with this. You don't want to buy the cheapest house in the cheapest area in the worst condition because there's other expenses that'll come into play. And here's another article from the National Low Income Housing Coalition. No state has an adequate supply of affordable rental housing for the lowest income renters. So all the red means that there's really not much affordable at all. The orange, same thing. The light, yellowish here, those have a decent amount, half of what it needs to have. I personally think this is the biggest gap and the biggest opportunity for investors is to fill affordable housing. The problem with this is the price of houses, the price of new construction, the interest rates, all these things make it very difficult to be able to supply affordable units because the cost is simply too high. And if your cost is high, it means you have to make more money, which means it is no longer affordable because you have to rent it for a higher dollar. So these people building, these high rises downtown everywhere, those are not affordable housing. But the only reason to make those work is to rent them for $2,000, $4,000, $6,000, $8,000 a month because the cost of construction is so high. But if you can find a way to fill the void and provide affordable housing, whether that's working with your city, buying deals from the land bank, getting government or state tax incentives to make these deals work, this is a massive, massive, massive opportunity in today's market. And once you can solve this, the thing is, like, when you solve these big problems, when you solve these big world problems, that's when you really make money. That's when you can make a lot of money. So if you can solve this problem, there's a lot of money waiting for you on the other side. In conclusion, stop listening, watching, and reading to all these negative news articles. Personally, I don't watch the news. I don't really read the news. I'll read some articles every once in a while if it has something that is timely in a marketplace, like the Fed news release. I'll read that because that's something you need to know. But I'm not listening to every Joe, Mary, and Nancy talking about their opinions of the real estate market or of the interest rates or of the crashes or any of those things, because nobody knows what they're talking about. So stop listening to all the negativity. All that does is put you in negativity. Think about the positive side, right? Don't even worry about the news and go make money, right? Learn the business, implement the business, make money, and then maybe some of these news articles may apply to you. Problem is we haven't even done anything. We're so tied to all this negative stuff that we never do anything in the first place. What I do is I surround myself with like-minded individuals that are actually doing the business, and I learn from them. There's opportunity in every market out there as long as you're willing to pivot to find that new opportunity. So if you want to learn more about how to actually implement and invest into real estate, especially using other people's money to be able to build your wealth at a much faster rate, make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe button so you can get all the content going forward.